This is the sequel to the WeFit Plus Bird's Eye Bullseye Expert Level Boosters Tour. It'll be like the first tour, which exposed the hidden boosters, but only as a round-trip revisiting of all 12 boosters and in the same order. But this time we explore 3 new vital questions. What things on this digital island are solid? How fast do we fly? And an expose. What are the boosters really like? First, what's solid and what's not? Appearances can be deceiving. We can only really know if something is solid by bumping into it. For example, we know these scoring perches are solid because otherwise we'd sink through them. What about the birds? They appear to be solid, but they enjoy flying right through us. They're like ghosts. They have no substance. So be prepared for multiple bird strikes. And later we'll see whether other things are solid. Second, how fast do we fly? Remember that speed is distance divided by time, like miles per hour. And note that the score in the upper right is a timer. It drops 1 point every second to show the time remaining. Our streamlined flight path requires only 400 seconds. So we'll need only 400 points as fuel for the flight. We were given 60 points at the start. We've just now gathered another 280 from the perches. You can do the math. And we'll get our final 60 before visiting the 4th booster and the monuments. And then, when we let time run out, we'll learn our round-trip distance, can divide by round-trip time, and know our flight speed. You'll see how. Finally, the boosters expose. We'll learn what the boosters are really like by being more intimate with them and seeing how they behave. Here are things to keep in mind. Boosters find us fascinating, always facing and staring at us. And at first they're cheering for us, but when we get close, they get cautious and stop cheering. And if we get very close, they get defensive and jump away. Well, there's one other booster trait that enlivens the beginner and advanced levels of Bird's Eye Bullseye, and those levels, all the visible boosters are on scoring perches. When we land on a perch and gain the score, they go into a brief but joyous hyper-cheering mode with extreme waving and jumping. It's a glorious thing to behold. But sadly, in this expert level, we'll never see that rejoicing because none of the boosters are on perches. They're all hidden away. That's why the Wii world needed the boosters tour in the first place, so no hyper cheering here. Well, there may be an exception. Let's get our final 60 points, our last minute of flight time, and visit the 4th booster. Look, there's the hyper cheering. What caused it? Perhaps it was the score that we got before visiting the booster. Maybe it was the steep descent to the booster. Well, we'll test the steep descent theory in just a moment, but right now we need to test an evergreen. You may have noticed that we were whacked by an invisible but very solid part of the tree that is different, is wider than the solid trunk. And note that the very visible fringe foliage is not solid. Keep those in mind. Here's our steep descent test to the 6th booster. Let's see if we get hyper cheering. Nope. It really is a scoring that triggers a booster's ecstasy. Boosters really love scoring. Now let's see whether other things are solid. Again, there's a wider invisible solid part to the top of the tree. In fact, all trees have a solid shape that's different from the visible shape. The steel cables that suspend the suspension bridge, they have to be solid, right? They're about as solid as smoke. Hello, 8. Well, we know from the previous tour that the palm tree leaves are not solid. But there is a solid extension to the trunk, just like a tree. Well, what about the boosters? Are they solid? Well, to find out, we just have to bump into them, but we can't bump into them. They don't let us. They always jump away. So here's the final booster fact. The boosters are the only things we can never know whether they have any substance or if they're ghosts like the birds. And that will be the enduring mystery of this island. We do know from the advanced level that water is not solid. We and scoring perches sink into the river, so it'll be fun to fly through the waterfall. Except the waterfall is a solid cylinder. It must be ice. Go figure. Well, there's our 12th and final booster. To complete our round trip, we need to return to our starting point. You may remember that that is the little perch on top of the town hall. At the same time, we want to run out the clock, so maybe we can do both together. Well, 392 seconds. And this is where we started and finished. Yeah, I know, this looks and sounds like a dismal failure. And to rub it in, they say we're finished. They give us a 1-star rating. They call us chickadees. But it's only a failure to meet the game's goal of landing on the wee blimp before the score expires. But what the game means for failure, we've turned into our success because we've learned our round trip distance. And we had to run the clock out to do it. This distance is 3.5 miles. To find our flight speed, we need to divide by our flight time. Well, we know it was 392 seconds, but we're rounded up to 7 minutes. Easy math. 3.5 miles divided by 7 minutes, that's half a mile per minute. That's 30 miles an hour, which is the cruising speed of eagles, not chickadees. So we're flying in very good company. Well, this ends the Boosters Tour sequel. I hope you found it enlightening. We thank the developers of this game, despite their insults, for hiding such wonderful experiences. Now the boosters, the birds, and I thank you for flying with us again today.